Hey there, strong people. In today's video, this will be part 4 to our Paddock series, where we are assembling the skeleton to our outer buildings of the paddock using pallet wood. My name's Doug from Two Rebels Off Grid. My second half is still not yet back, but hopefully in the next video she'll be coming back around, and she'll join us in the next video, hopefully. If not, then it will be definitely the next video after that. In an ideal world where I have unlimited funding and I can just purchase whatever I wanted, I could go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and buy brand new pressure treated wood. It'd all be standard sizes. I could work with it. It'd make a better end product. Or I could actually just contract all this work out and have somebody else do it for me. But in the world, in the lot that I've been given, we have to scavenge or look for materials, or we might even have it on our property already, such as pallet wood. How we are using pallets, we're using them many ways. We're using them for stacking stuff on, which is what their traditional use is for. We're using them to outline perimeters of garden beds. There's many things you can do with pallets. Google it, you'll find 100 different ways of using pallets. There are, of course, different grades of pallets and different types of pallets. There are hardwood pallets. They are made to hold a lot of weight. And there are also softwood pallets, where they take wood from some of these endangered rainforests and they process them and laminate them together, and they're usually built for just one use or one travel on that shipping container. And then by the time they disassemble them, like some of the pallets you'll see me using here were made to hold solar panels. They only were built for one period of time to get those solar panels, probably from Taiwan or China or something, over to the United States, and then they basically start falling apart or degrading immediately. There are also heat treated pallets. They'll have an H on the side of the pallet. Those ones are the best to use because they have killed off the pine beetle if the pallets are made of pine. And those are your most standard pallet that you'll find out there. But then there are also chemically treated pallets. And those ones you don't want to build with. You don't know what's going to leach out of those pallets and get into your building and into your air and into your lungs inevitably. There are some pallets that you may possess that are actually illegal to own. They are owned by Chet, C-H-E-T. They are like a standard for building pallets. So if you have a red spray painted pallet or a blue spray painted pallet, you are not intentionally a thief or anything like that, but technically those pallets are worth up to $35, and they are supposed to be returned to a facility of some sort. Nobody even knows where to return these, actually. I'm sure I could look it up on the internet. But the blue pallets, the red pallets are chemically treated. They're very strong. They're usually made of compressed sawdust, and you don't really want to build with those. I actually have 3 of those pallets on my property, and I didn't willingly keep them or steal them knowing that they belong to somebody else. But just to let you know that that is a thing. Alright, so those are the type of pallets that I'm talking about. We are building with the softwood pallets. The reason is because it's all going to get covered with plaster. So you're never going to see that. It's never going to see the light of day anymore. So it doesn't really matter. We're using these pallets for a skeleton for our plaster work. you can find pallets. We got some of our pallets from Tractor Supply when we first came out here because we were kind of having a difficult time trying to locate and source pallets. So Tractor Supply, they usually have a big stack out back, and they don't give them away for free. I believe that they gave them to us for $4 a pallet. And the good thing is we could pick through them all and make sure that they're nice sturdy ones, not falling apart, not flimsy, not chemically treated. We got all heat treated pallets. Or you can look on Facebook Marketplace. You can drive down the street and see stacks of pallets and just go up and ask them if you can, hey, can I take all these pallets? So sourcing out pallets is incredibly easy. The other thing I wanted to mention is that pallets, if I was to build this myself, if I went to Lowe's and bought the wood and tried to build this, you're talking about probably an 8-foot 2x4, probably 2 or 3 of these 1x6s. It's probably going to cost you $150 to build this thing. And I'm not even joking at today's prices. I just went down and bought some posts, and they were 19 bucks a piece for a 4x8. So I can imagine building these would not be cheap. So you look at the value. If you Google the value of a standard heat treated pallet, there is no value to the market itself. They don't consider these valuable. But to somebody who's innovative and creative, these are worth their weight in gold, pretty much. There's no extent of what you can do with them. You can actually pop these off. This is what we're going to do, is get a lathe and pop these off, take the good pieces, run them through a lathe, and actually do our entire ceiling of our house with them to hold the insulation up. So that's another way of using it. You could actually use it for flooring it also. I'm not even going to go into it because there is infinite amounts of what you can do with these pallets. Why are we using pallets? Because they're free and they're available. And I can go out today and get me a stack of 10 of these things right now if I wanted to. I got lucky. I happen to have all the pallets. Some had stuff being held on them, and some were just leaning up against walls and stuff. So I have all these pallets that I'm going to use. I'm going to show you what I've been doing with these. Like I said, it's going to be the skeleton. So what you're watching in the background, it's the skeleton. All the walls are going to be coated with mud. We're probably going to insert garbage, basically, like old bottles and old cans and whatever we can do to fill in the space, the voids in between the pallets. Then we are considering putting stucco wire on. We might not have to, but we'll get to that in another video. But anyhow, this whole video is going to be on doing the skeleton for the outer buildings of the paddock. And I'm only 1.5 gabions away from that part of the build. So come along with me. We're going to tour this baby and show you what's up. All right, so come with me. We're going to go check out kind of what I've been working on for the last 2 weeks. Probably had 4 days off in those last weeks, so getting this much done is kind of an accomplishment for me, at least. If I wasn't working, I would have had this all done in probably 3 or 4 days. Yeah. So the pallets, these are the softwood pallets I was talking about. They're laminated, you can tell. Laminated softwood. Not the strongest stuff, but it's it will do what it needs to do. We put these in, I had to cut some of these to make them fit. This area, this particular area that you're looking at, is going to be the chicken run slash where the nesting boxes are going to be, where Carrie keeps her fermentation buckets at. This will be basically a big shade and rain station for the birds. They can perch here. They'll get through winter until we get the stuff out of our storage, and then they can use the chicken tower for living in. So I put in these will stick out farther. They're like cleats basically. They're sticking out of the wall a bit, so I'll have something to screw the nesting boxes on. So I'm gonna put a row of nesting boxes along here, and I'll give it a firm, secure thing to attach to. The chickens can come in here. The cat proofness of it is that the nesting boxes that we bought, the eggs roll into a container basically that the cats can't get into. So where we mentioned this place is going to be cat proof, it's not necessarily going to be cat proof. What's going to be cat proof is our eggs are going to be cat proofed. We'll be able to collect our eggs instead of having them being eaten by the cats. You're asking how I attach these. Well, if you see, I put these cleats inside the wall, inside the gabion, and that's been in previous videos. You can go ahead and watch the series, the part 1 to this series of the paddocks where I build these. But we attach these directly with screws into here. So if you have a little pre-thought and you know exactly where you're going to attach your pallets, this is how we are using pallets. We are attaching them to this wall, to this gabion basket, and it holds it fairly firm. There's a little wiggle to it, but I believe that when I put the posts in that's going to hold this roof up, it's going to be a lot more rigid, is what I'm trying to say. These posts are one thing that I did have to buy. I did have to buy the cages, but other than that, everything here is just labor. These posts, like I was saying, were like 20 bucks a piece. They're pressure treated. They're going to hold up the roof. And I'm also going to have pressure treated 2x4s that will bring this together. And if there's any unlevelness to this whatsoever, these gabions, that should fix it, because I'm really going to torque them together before with those 2x4s and make sure they're plumb before I put those screws in. And that will secure this one to this gabion, from this gabion to that gabion to that gabion. And I'm going to put an additional post in the center here, so I'm not having to buy 20-foot boards. I want them to be 8 feet, so that's the cheapest that I can get. The other thing I wanted to mention is, and this is pretty important, these rocks here that I put here right next to Willow the dog. These are keeping the wood off the ground. It's essentially a foundation. It's going to be, and I did this to the entire paddock outer buildings. I put these, everything's up on rock. The gabions are already on rock by themselves. So these rocks, the water when it rains will go between the gaps and shed downhill. We plan on taking the mud when we go to plaster. We're going to backfill the top parts of these. Will get backfilled with mud, and it'll proceed up the wall. But this very bottom we'll leave alone so that water can shed underneath the wall. That way we don't get wicking happening, and then we have rotted wood. I should mention that I said that we had to cut some of these pallets to make them fit and make them work here. When you cut into these, be super careful, because most of these pallets come with a lot of nails and screws and all sorts of weird attachments to them. And just make sure when you're using a circular blade or something, have eye protection on, because you never know what might come flinging out when you try to cut through these things. So I didn't have any of that happen, but in the past I've had it happen, and it's not a good thing. So the other thing I was mentioning, we are going to backfill these pallets with whatever semi-stable junk we can put in here. Bottles, cans, metal, old fencing, whatever we can find, we're going to put in between this. So that way we don't have to pack this as densely with mud. We'll have some, it it won't use as much resources to fill this. Otherwise, we're going to be going through tractor bucket loads of stuff just to fill that. Let's walk over. I want to show you something else. You notice that cage up there. Cats keep ripping through it. That hardware cloth is no bueno. The cats will rip through it easily. So I had to finally staple a real fence on there, and they haven't been able to get in there since. You can see. Okay, I wanted to talk about what I converted this. I recycled the doghouse. I recycled this doghouse. If you remember back in our old videos, the puppies used to stay in here. It was kind of like a dog nursery. And we had a door on it, and it had a bar, and it kept the dogs from getting out at night. And then it slowly worked its way up here, where it became a chicken house. So the chickens lived in there. And so then it's been just sitting out here, not being used by anybody really. They go in there once in a while. The goats go in there when it rains. But I decided to move it up here and have it part of the paddock outer buildings. What I'm going to use this for now is when the goats are pregnant and they're about to give labor, we're going to put them in here. But we're going to be able to chain the goats up here, and when they're having their babies, and they'll be able to keep their babies in here. The other animals won't mess with them. They'll be able to step out here. The chain won't be that short. They'll be able to come out here, come in here, get water, what have you. The other thing I wanted to mention really quick is that this little corner here, it's got a purpose. I'm going to build a slider door for this. It'll slide up, and it's so narrow, it's just barely wide enough for the dogs to get through, but it's going to be used for the goats or whatever future animals we have. This is going to be a corral. So goats don't necessarily want to come to you when you call them. So chicken run will be here. I'll get over here, I'll chase the goats in here. They'll be stuck in this little area right here, and I'll be able to push them with a little pressure in here where we'll lift the slider gate, and we'll be able to bring them in here on a chain or on a leash. And if they're about to have babies, we put them in there, lock them up so they're not eating all the hay and everything. Or if like we have pigs or something in the future, we could corral them in here and bring them to the processing centers, whatever we got to do, process the animals. A little corral so that we can chase the goats or the animals in here when they're being stubborn, instead of letting them through the gates and then we're releasing other animals are coming in and stuff. The other thing I wanted to mention is we've been building this outer thing with stone, and we're running into a little problem. We're running out of surface stone, and I need to get my tractor to start pulling up more stone from under the ground. I'm having to walk farther and farther to get these gabions filled, and there's a problem. My tractor is not turning over. So diesel engine tractor, having issues with it. If any of you guys know why a tractor wouldn't turn over, the fan spins when I turn the key, when I have jumper cables on it, trying to jump it with the FJ, it's not turning over. So I'm thinking it's the solenoid or the starter, but we don't know. I'm not a mechanic, not by any means at all. Let's go down here. I finally replaced the front gate. These are those recycled llama gates. I think we paid $20-some a piece, and they are sturdy. They were handmade, they were welded, they have pig fencing on it. It's a lot wider. The view, it's easier to see what's going on in here and see what's going on out there through this gate. It's a lot stronger. I used recycled railroad ties from the San Pedro Railway. We acquired those about a year ago. They used to hold up the roof on that goat ruin there, but now it is here. I had some pallets came with spring steel, and I didn't throw that away. I kept it, and I cut the spring steel, drilled holes into it. So that is looking amazing in my opinion, and it's very strong. This gate is so level, it doesn't even move. If you swing it in either direction, it just stays there. It doesn't swing, you know. I removed about 3 feet of the entrance of this whole thing here, and now we have a little better entrance way in here. It's not so steep. It's going to be really nice. The other thing I wanted to mention, this is going to be the loafing shed. This is where I'm going to probably put my IBC tote in this corner to collect water off this roof, and then stack hay and straw here in this whole section here. I'll probably be able to get maybe 15-20 bundles of hay and straw in here, and I haven't decided yet. I might even raise this wall up even higher just to keep water from shedding in here. The other thing that's going to go here is I'm going to put pallets on the floor of this, because I want to keep the hay off the ground when the water runs under this. So I need to finish putting these stones under here still, and that will also assist in keeping the goats from escaping, and my little dog likes to escape still. This is going to go directly out to the dogs and the goats area. So they're going to have their own gate. When we let the dogs in to feed them, we're going to let them in through this gate. And that's it. I'm going to replace this post with a real post, because these things are never straight. They're kind of wonky. So I want a straight post going up. It'll really secure this pallet that's kind of flimsy right now. It's kind of flimsy, but once it's secured to the roof, it should be good. What else do I have to mention? This is going to be the milking station. It's really tiny, but that's how we want it. We want it to be cramped. I'm going to put an eye bolt somewhere. I can leash the goat here. We'll have a chair in the corner here for us to sit. We'll be able to milk the goats, and we'll probably put some kind of like cooler in here, something to keep the milk for a while we're milking it, to just keep it at a consistent temperature. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna put a couple of these little shelves here and there, just so like when you're opening the gate and that, you can put your drink or whatever you got going on, tools on the shelf. And that is it for this tour, guys. I only have one more gabion to put right here with a post, and that is it. The roof will be an entire different video, probably a couple videos out still, but I've got the post assembled for that very reason. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this little tour and understand a little bit more where our mindset is with this and where we're going with it and how it will come together. It's merely a skeleton right now to hold up plaster, and the plastering should look like that building, and hopefully it all works out, God willing. The next video, I plan on doing some landscaping. I plan on cleaning up this paddock. Over the year or so, we've accumulated quite a bit of junk that's in here, and I just haven't gotten around to picking it up. I've had other things to do. We're also going to be putting in those stone stairs. We're going to be backfilling and trying to level out areas that are really extremely sloped, and that will probably be enough for the next video. But we hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please give us a thumbs up. Please comment down below, because we really enjoy your comments. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. We don't think you'll be disappointed. And until next time, guys, see ya.